What's going on, everybody? It's Jimmy again with another video talking about my twin flame experience. Now, first I kind of want to, preface this with the fact that walking into October was kind of a mystery month for me. Like, when I tried to go in, and visualize how October was going to be, it was just this black screen. A lot of things have been changing in my life, and especially with the solar eclipse that we just had, there's been a lot of mystery, and I really feel like October is one of those months where we really face some of the dark parts of ourselves, especially when we have things like Halloween or Day of the Dead. It really kind of pushes us to look at some of the dark sides of things or to face our fears, in essence. So what the solar eclipse and just the general energy of this month has brought up for me is some more insights about my twin flame experience. And I really think that this information is going to help some of you guys who are struggling on your path, whether you've met a twin flame or whether you're going through a spiritual awakening or anything in between. I really think you guys are going to benefit from this. So when I first started to get to know my twin flame, I started to feel these really interesting feelings that I really had never felt before. Like, she seemed really familiar to me, even though she grew up in a different state and wasn't from where I'm from. And there was these kind of like knowings that I had, if I can phrase it that way. If you've ever gotten those like gut feelings about something, like maybe you are going to a new place with your friends and you have this gut feeling that something bad is going to happen, and so you leave and then you find out that there was a car accident or something like that, and you're so glad that you avoided that situation and you got out of there. Or just intuitive feelings, on the opposite side, like you really feel like something's good is going to happen to you today, and then you find $5 on the ground or something like that. And so I really had these really strong intuitive knowings. Now, I also want to come in and explain that there are certain things that our souls plan before we incarnate into our bodies. And honestly, I kind of feel like, especially with this twin flame experience, that it was pretty much planned. Like, we had certain roles that we had to play. She had to play her role. I had to play my role. And that knowingness, that intuitive, like, I've been here before, or I know what's going to happen, I really feel like that was just me remembering my soul's plan. And sometimes that's a lot of what can happen with these intuitive premonitions, is that we're just remembering the things that we had planned before we incarnated on this earth. So one of the biggest intuitive insights that I had with her was that, I told myself, don't fall in love with this girl because she's going to break your heart. That's exactly what happened. But one thing I want to say is that because I kind of knew this information, I tried to manipulate the situation so that I could protect myself from getting hurt. So like, there was a lot of things that I tried to do, like try to cut off the relationship or try to, do this thing or do that thing, because I really just didn't want to go through the pain of heartbreak and all these other things that I experienced, like these dreams that I had about her where she's stabbing me in the heart, and really painful things that I went through. But there really was no way around it. As much as I tried to manipulate the situation and tried to change the outcome and all this stuff, I eventually just had to go through all of the emotional pain, because there was no other way for me to really experience it. Like, what came out of the pain were, like I said in my other video, I had spiritual gifts. I met other people on the spiritual path. I was opened up to, different ways of looking at the world. So there was a lot of good things that came from the pain. And I think that there was no real way to experience these other things unless I had gone through the pain. In order for these other parts of me to die, these roles that I had played because of trauma, those things, had to die, and it was kind of a painful, uncomfortable experience. And I think that was my intuition. It was like, hey, we're about to go through something that's really painful. And of course, everything in your mind and your body tries to avoid pain as much as possible. But even though I knew that these things were going to happen, I had to go through them. There just was no other way for me to go around it or, try to do some meditation or whatever, this thing, that thing that I tried to do to, avoid the pain that I was feeling. But at the end of it, it's like I was able to integrate these parts of myself and I felt more whole afterwards. So I guess what I'm really trying to say is that, sometimes we have these intuitive knowings about certain things and we can avoid them, right? So my example about avoiding a car accident or finding $5 on the ground, sometimes those intuitive knowings can help us avoid bad situations or can lead us towards good situations. But sometimes we just have to go through the pain, especially when we're on a very high vibrational or spiritual path. We can really trigger people's dark sides. It's just part of our nature. I remember when I was starting my business last year, I triggered a lot of people's dark sides during that time period, and I was not expecting. I went into the starting the business blindly, really. I was thinking, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to have all this freedom and it's going to be challenging to me mentally and emotionally. And I'm going to be this brand new person coming out of it. And definitely all those things happened. But I had to go through a lot of pain. I had to, let's say, purify my friendships, purge some relationships that I thought were for my highest good, but those people chose a different path, and no judgment on them. They just weren't choosing their highest path. And so, there's kind of a rift when that happens, and you just have to let things be. And some people, they showed their dark sides, but then they kind of worked through it and saw it as an opportunity to reflect and kind of change who they are. And those friends kind of stuck around. It really took me a while to understand why there was so much failure in my business when it really felt like my highest calling in life. And really, same thing with the twin flame is that if I had known that I was going to have to say goodbye to a lot of friends and go through a lot of pain in starting that business, I probably would not have taken the leap and I would not have learned my spiritual lessons that I was supposed to learn through that. And the same thing with the twin flame. I had this intuitive knowing that she was going to break my heart and it was going to be really painful. And I had all these other, intuitive downloads about this whole experience. And of course, because I had those intuitive knowingness, because I had those intuitive insights, I tried to manipulate the situation and change it. It's kind of like that TV show that used to be on the Disney Channel, That's So Raven, where she would have these like psychic visions. And then if something bad was going to happen, she would try to make sure that it didn't happen. When something good was going to happen in her psychic vision, she was trying to figure out when it was going to happen, right? So what I want to say is that there is a dark side of this spiritual awakening, and that is that there are some things in our lives that are planned by our soul that are really painful and uncomfortable, but are absolutely necessary for our spiritual evolution. And they're pretty much inevitable. Like, there is no way to go around them or above them or to transmute them. You just have to go through them. I know some of you guys are probably experiencing some of this, stuff. It's the best way to, you're experiencing these painful situations, even though you took a leap of faith and you're like, hey, I answered the call, my intuition, God was calling me to do these things. Yet here I am. I'm broke. I have no friends. I'm going through these painful situations. Like, what's going on? Like, did I do something wrong? Well, probably not because you did something wrong. It's probably because you did something right and you were supposed to go through this painful experience as part of your soul's journey and your soul's growth. So anyways, I hope this video encouraged at least some of you guys who are going through the same situation. If you have any other comments or insights about these certain events that our soul has planned for us that are really painful and uncomfortable and kind of have to do with our dark side and our shadow side, please leave a comment in the comment section below. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.